Schneider Electric Value Chain Optimisation is about how to produce the maximum profit from your supply chain. What are the common ingredients that are required for a profitable supply chain? The first ingredient is a global optimised plan. This is about which products should be processed, which should be blended and transported at the right time to meet the product demand. This needs to be optimised around profit, considering purchasing costs, the cost of consumables, the cost of each processing step and transportation, and the revenue that's achieved through the final products. It needs to be accurate and model-based. It needs an accurate physical representation of the supply chain. Some financial packages are insufficiently accurate in the physical model to give proper results. It needs to span the entire supply chain from mine through to delivery of product. It needs to look beyond any silos in the supply chain to see the net effect across the entire system of changes upstream. It needs to be based on a long time frame. This is not about what will give highest throughput next week, but about what gives highest profitability over the next 12 months or the next 2 years. The second ingredient is that we need to break this plan into operational activities. These are discrete activities that can be passed on to operations for execution. This schedule needs to be driven by the targets that came from the optimized planning. Thirdly, what is needed is regular alignment with operations. Reality is always going to differ from any plan. This may be because what was executed may not have been exactly what was intended, or it may be that what has been delivered by the mine differs in some way from what was expected, or different ship arrival times. There needs to be a regular cycle of aligning the actual state of the system with the next schedule, and the task of scheduling is always to answer this question: what do we schedule next that will get us back on track to meet those targets that deliver the highest long-term profit? Schneider Electric's value chain optimization brings together the components that address those needs. Planning optimization is where we produce that optimal plan that maximizes profits based on a physical model of the supply chain. This in turn feeds capacity scheduling, which is our mid-level planning system. This is an interactive planning level where the user can make adjustments to the plan, again being led by the targets from optimization. Thirdly, there is operational scheduling. This is where those activities are broken down into a level that can be passed on to execution. Again, operational scheduling is driven by the targets from planning optimization. Together, these three layers make up our unified supply chain management system, which is our Spiral Suite product. By unified, we mean that the same physical model is shared by each of these three layers. The same material definition is used. The same material qualities are used. All of the data is shared across these systems. We then come down to operations management. This is our Ampla product, where we track the historical operations and where we can see the current state of the system. We can see recent processing activities, we can see the state of inventory, we can see what demand has been met and what demand is outstanding. It is between operational scheduling and operations management that the plan, do, check, act cycle is regularly performed to align the schedule to the actual operations. At each point in scheduling, we ask that question: what do we schedule next to get us back on track for the optimized targets from planning? Across all four of these layers, we provide a single means of viewing this data so that together they form a single source of truth. Viewers from within the business can look at a single source and see the long-term optimized plan compared to the schedule, compared again to the actual historical operations. In that way, we can see conformance to schedule and conformance of the schedule to that long-term plan. The data can be viewed in a unified format so the viewer of the system can see all of this information laid out in a consistent way that's easy to follow. So what are the key benefits that this technology provides for a business? Planning optimization is where we maximize the big picture gains. This is the long-term profitability across the entire supply chain. Mine materials are blended to produce the highest value revenue that can be achieved. The system determines the optimal contract quality specifications that will achieve maximum revenue. It avoids inefficiencies of supply chain silos. The system also allows planned maintenance to be entered and incorporated into the optimization. Having scheduling and execution driven by the optimization targets prevents the schedulers from sacrificing long-term profit for some short-term gain. Collaboration drives improved business practices. For example, awareness of how one part of the supply chain impacts on the rest of the system. It means that the KPIs for each part of the supply chain can be aligned with what gives the highest overall benefit. Enterprise architecture and scalable deployment reduces the cost of ownership and makes it easier to maintain the system. And finally, configurability and model-driven data allows the system to remain aligned to the physical supply chain and to the present operations of the business. It also means that the system can be rolled out across multiple mine sites just through configuration changes. Together, value chain optimization brings these benefits to a business.